or good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for popping in. We have a nice group in the chat already. I'm going to say hi to Mel and Leanne and Jean and Rob and Joe and Pauline. I did see a few other people up here. One second. Let me, sometimes these little, there we go. I might have Ruthie. Ruthie's here. Locke, good to see you, sir. Nancy. I think I got. If I haven't gotten you, I apologize, but we will as the chat goes on. I want to say very very warm welcome to Robin at Robin's Gardens. Uh, so good to have you. Thank you for being here.
Thank
Uh,
you.
Robin and I just kind of got to be chatting in the chats and uh, got to know her a bit. And she's just a lovely, wonderful gardener. And she has just started her own YouTube channel. Yay! I wish I had a button where I could like get, you know, uh, confetti flying.
Oh,
So, do you want to tell us a little bit about it?
well, absolutely. So I am in the Chicagoland area, northwest of Chicago to be exact. I have a suburban backyard, which is about somewhere between a third and a half acre. And it's mostly backyard because I live on a cul-de-sac.
Okay.
Um, and I garden in raised beds. I splurged a handful of years back and had stone beds put in. And I had started out with some cinder block beds first, but I kind of call it butt gardening because I can sit on the edge and garden and
Sure.
I did that so that I could comfortably age with my garden
Yeah.
and still do it.
Because there are times where it's just nice to be able to sit down, right?
It is. Or, even just, get your knees on there and get in too.
Hmm.
It's just easier.
Yeah, and backs don't they just they start to do weird things.
They do.
So so I think that's phenomenal. So Robin has put out her first, is that correct? Your first video and an intro video,
I did.
right?
Yeah, I did. I put a
Yeah.
little trailer out that kind of gives you a view of what happened in 2023. Unfortunately, on YouTube, it looks a little funny in some places because for Instagram, which I've been doing for a year,
Yeah, you're a
it
veteran at Instagram.
you film it uh, portrait.
Right.
YouTube, you film landscape. So I'm
Right.
learning. I'm learning.
Well, and also those Instagram videos that you shoot also make great shorts on YouTube. So you
Ah,
can still use that footage here without missing a beat.
ah.
So welcome. So Robin is at Robin Gardens. So why don't you all go check it out? And I'm going to say subscribe because you're going to learn a lot and be very entertained because Robin has a beautiful smile and shows that most of the time while she's gardening. So I'm really proud of you and so happy that you took the big plunge. That's
Thank
awesome.
you.
That is
It's
awesome. Yeah. So
it's my happy
Robin,
place.
it is. I think that we all should have plaques that just say happy place, happy place. Uh oh, Mel already follows you. Awesome.
She sure does. Yeah.
Locke is your 33rd sub. So
Oh,
thank you,
thank
Locke.
you. Thank you.
Awesome. So today, Robin and I are just going to chat about some of our favorite things.
Hmm.
We're going to talk about our favorite tools in the garden, some of our favorite seed companies. And I need for though this is the first time I told Robin, this is the first time I've been on with someone from the US. So so I need those UK followers in the I'm going to say UK and New Zealand for Locke to bring up some of your favorite seed companies because since Brexit, COVID, and there's one other, and I can't remember the third thing, it's very hard to get seeds back and forth. Now, it used to be a very easy thing to do. It is now a little trickier. So I'm hoping in the years to come that will lighten up a little bit and we'll be able to share seeds a little bit more. So we're going to talk about tools, seeds. We might get into some varieties of things we like to grow. We're going to talk about amendments and anything else that you guys in the chat want to know about. How about that? As long as they're not too probing questions. This is a garden show. So anyway. Okay, so Robin, I understand you have visual aids.
I did.
Uh,
When we decided to talk about this, I said, well, it's just easiest to bring some things along. Would you like me to start?
Absolutely. Let's start talking about our tools.
Okay. So my favorite, which is not going to be a surprise to anybody, is the Hori Hori knife.
Oh, yes.
And once I got it and started using it, and then my husband Al started using it, we're like, this is the bomb. And this is about, I'd say about 7 years old now. It
Mm-hmm.
holds up really, really well. One thing I'd say, if you're gonna go purchase it, make sure that you get, can you see that? The serrated edge
Mm-hmm.
on one side, because that comes in so handy when you get down trying to get some roots out and you need to saw them. It just, it's the bomb. So I had to buy him one. So we have two Hori Horis in the arsenal.
Yeah, that is by far my favorite. By
It
far.
does it does everything, right?
If you only could have one tool, I think that's the one I'd have.
I
And then
agree.
somebody else who could dig things up if I needed it, but I would have a Hori Hori.
I
Yeah,
agree.
oh, it's my favorite. And the minute I started using it, same thing. I'm like, well, how did I do this with a shovel before? This is crazy. Yeah, no, favorite for sure.
So this one is an interesting tool,
That is a very interesting tool.
but and it was advertised as an ergo tool. But oh my goodness, if you want to get down and get dandelions out, I'm organic, so the whole yard is full of dandelions and creeping Charlie and that kind of thing. But sometimes you just want to get some things out. This is the tool. It's also
Now,
good in. Mhm.
I'm sorry, didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, do you use that like in your raised beds too to pull out some weeds?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
and it's kind of good to get down like, let's say next to garlic or leeks when you're trying to loosen them up and get them out. It's just it's a fab tool. I don't know what it's called. I don't even know where I got it. I've had it for years.
Yeah, no, it looks great.
Yeah. Um, Another one of my favorites is this. It's a short hula hose, stirrup hoe.
Yeah.
uh, Um, and this is great in the raised beds because it's short. And I'm sure almost everybody in this group has, a stirrup hoe. I have a big long one too, but this short one is the bomb in a raised bed.
Now, did you guys make it short or were you able to get it short?
No, I bought it short.
I've never seen one short.
It's called the hula hoe.
Uh-huh.
Um, my big stirrup hoe is called a hula hoe too, but I use this a lot. It is my friend.
Yeah,
You
no,
can
that's
just like tickle the surface, right? When you've got
sure.
those new weeds that you want to get
And
going.
sometimes if you just get them out a little bit, they'll dry in the sun and they're dead. So
Yeah.
it's wonderful. You don't even really have to pull them. Now, Claire is calling it's a Pinocchio trowel, your
Ah,
weeder. That seems like a good name,
it's
because it's long and skinny. Uh, yeah, nice. Oh, hi,
neat.
Graham, welcome. And did see Claire and Stephen come in too, so welcome to all of you.
So this one's going to seem a little bit weird, but I was going for the tools that I just use repetitively. And this is oh my gosh, I've had this for years. It's just a little rake. And it,
Yeah.
again, in short beds, um, I don't know if you get this, Audrey, but I get maple tree seeds in the spring like crazy.
Oh,
Those
yeah.
little helicopter
Yeah, the
ones.
helicopters.
Oh my gosh, my garden looks like snow. I get so
Oh,
many. And this, I can just rake them out and scoop them up and get them out before they make little maple trees everywhere. So, what are some of your favorites?
well, I was, kind of thinking about that. It's the Hori Hori, hands down. Uh, After that, I have a little shovel. I call it a girl shovel, which sounds very, it's not normally a description I would give something, but maybe I'll call it a short shovel. How about
Okay.
that? I'm not very tall, so, uh, and it's a very small spade, so I can actually move dirt, like, with it.
Uh-huh.
And, it's not my husband's size spade, which is enormous, and he can pick up, all kinds of dirt at once, but it's a really nice size for me. So that's also one of my favorites. I have it's a hook with like a blade on the end that I use for weeding. It's
Ah.
it's more of like a Japanese, I think,
Mm-hmm.
inspired piece. And I'm sorry, I should have probably at least brought pictures of these. But it really is just a hook and it has a little blade and you can get right in there very easily and tidy.
I have
One of my
seen that one.
Yeah,
And it
it's
it it really looks like it would be good because it would cut those roots.
yeah, and it helps me based on my dexterity and stuff because of the MS. It helps me control it so I don't cut off the actual plant that I'm trying to weed around. Because it's small and it's light. And no, I love that one. One of the other tools, and I don't know if it's actually a tool, I love my irrigation system in my beds.
Mm.
I think that's a tool because uh, that saves me. That is like my saving grace on all of this. Uh, that might be it. I like to keep it like short and sweet. And these are the things I use all the time.
I'd say the other thing I didn't bring is
Oh, my
the
clippers. Yeah,
pruners,
my clippers. Oh my goodness.
a
I have a pair of
secateurs,
I have
they
a
call them.
pair of Felcos and I love them. And
Ah,
I'm left-handed, so these are left-handed snippers, which, for those of you um, that aren't left-handed, trust me, when you get a left-handed tool, it's like it was made just for you because it
mhm.
was. And so it fits your hand just like a right-handed tool. So my
It,
left-handed Falcos are fabulous.
I think
Uh,
that's going to be my next purchase is, a Feltco. I've been
they last forever.
I've been kind of, coveting them for a while and I need to just pull the trigger. The other thing I'd say is gloves. For me, these are pigskin And they were expensive to begin with, but you know, these are probably 8 or 10 years old. Got a little hole here, but they last forever and they really protect your hands. And then occasionally, when I used to have roses. I don't have roses anymore, but I still have some thorny things. The long gloves, because when you need them, you need them.
Okay.
Otherwise, you get, you know,
Yeah.
your hands protected, but then, this part is, you know, getting hurt,
Yeah,
scratched
I'm
up.
one of those people that like to put my hands in the dirt. I like to get, and I don't care if they get dirty, and that's what all those cool gardening cleanup gels and things are for, right?
Oh,
And a good old scrub brush.
like right here and right here. It's like embedded, isn't it? As soon as the season starts,
But
oh
that's
well,
I think that's part of the fun. We still get to play in mud and dirt and
it is.
yeah,
It's
no, it's
great.
okay. What is Claire is saying something about I need a left hori, but I'm right-handed with scissors. Oh, so you're right-handed or you can do things with both hands. I'm a little bit like that. Like I do certain things right-handed and certain things left-handed. I don't
My
know.
husband, my husband is ambidextrous and he can do it with both hands, play sports with both hands.
Well,
It's kind of it.
I was switched when I was young to being right-handed because my dad thought that left-handed was a disability and they didn't make good left-handed golf clubs. That was his big and that gee gosh, that didn't um do me much good. And then as things progressed with the MS, my right hand has become quite not usable, so I'm lefty again. So I thought, well, that did full circle. So that's pretty awesome. Uh, yeah. So, do you guys? I've seen a lot of hori horis. I see some secateurs. Uh, what are some of your?
You're welcome, Graham.
uh, they tried to do that with me too, Audrey, and my mom told them off. Well, my mom was part of the conspiracy, so she wouldn't have done that because it was my dad that was doing it. So anyway, it's all fine. In the end result, I ended up as a lefty. So there we go. So I saw some earlier where people were talking about their UK seed companies that they liked. Uh, we were talking about Johnny Seed just
Hmm.
earlier, one of my absolute favorites. And Robin, this is the first time you ordering from them.
It is. My first video is about seeds. It's about the seeds that I saved, and it's
Oh,
about
you
how
saved so many seeds.
I did a good job this year. I saved
You
them for the Door County Seed Library. I'm a volunteer, and I did 665 packets. So I was pretty
that's
proud
like
about.
that sounds to me like an absolute like you're a professional seed purveyor at that level, right? I mean,
Well,
that's a lot of seeds.
it's a lot of seeds for the size of the garden that I have. The only thing that I kind of bemoan, if you will, in doing it is they take a long time, for the seeds to come the full fruition, to be ripe
Yeah,
and ready to harvest. And I want them out so I can put something else in there.
right. So it's like you're almost doing I don't like that is the end result for that. It's not like you're waiting to get something from it. Oh, I guess that is what you're waiting to get, but it takes a long
Long time.
time. I agree. I agree. So that's
So
probably why I haven't. Um, really invested much time in
So
doing it. But
my Johnny's seeds came yesterday, so this is my first time, and I know you love them. So I gave them a go because I wanted to try this one Socrates that Jess over at Plot 37
mhm,
grows inside. And I thought, ooh, because last year I had cucumber beetles like crazy. And they took down my crop. So I'm thinking if I start this one inside and get it going, bring it out. I know it's just a tiny plant. Maybe this one will be ahead of the game. And it's interesting because it's parthenocarpic.
parthenocarpic, yes.
It doesn't need pollinating.
Hmm.
But this was $9.65 for 10 seeds. Ouch.
Yeah, they're not the cheapest seed company on the planet. However, I'm always always pleased with the seeds I get. Always pleased. And it's employee owned, which I also think in this day and age is kind of cool. There's
Oh,
not some
very
big,
much.
mastermind behind it. It's they all get a piece. And I also think that improves your customer service if they have some skin in the game.
Ah,
So that's also how I look at it. Like, it's fabulous. Uh, so I hope that you're as happy with them as I've been, because I think
I
I have Diva from them, which is
mm,
also a parthenocarpic, which is what I'm growing right now. So I have 3 plants that are up about 6 inches now, and,
mm.
I'm looking forward to maybe getting a fruit in March. I
Oh,
think
wouldn't it
that'll
be
be
cool?
wouldn't that be awesome? Yeah,
So cool.
yeah,
So, one of my favorite seed companies is right there in your state. Am I Gardener?
mhm.
Uh,
He's an
you,
hour drive from me. The whole shebang is an hour away from me.
oh, neat. You know, almost every pack of seeds is $2.
Right, and it used to be a
Um,
buck. Up
and
until,
yeah,
like, last year, it was only a buck a pack, and
and they're open pollinated
mhm,
heirloom seeds. So, you literally you only have to buy them once. He
yeah.
does carry a very few F1s, but I mean, I'd say 98% of what you see in the catalog. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I think
it's
I'm gonna try to get up there this year because they've
oh,
just opened a garden center. So, I'm kind of curious to see what they're carrying, and is this stuff they grow? Is the stuff they brought in? But they bought this big, huge piece of property up there. So, I think it'll be kind of cool to do a little day trip up there. And
oh.
I also love going in and seeing all the seeds, and then you realize what you really need, and then you leave with a nice big bag of seeds again, even though you have everything from his catalog already. Uh,
Well, it's probably about 6 hours from my house to yours, and then another hour. Well, maybe I need to do that this summer too.
that could be a fun day trip. We'll have to
Yeah.
coordinate that, and you can drive my son in for the weekend. No, I'm just kidding, 'cause he's Northwest Chicago too, so he's probably very close to you. Soph is saying that she tried Diva last year. Wait a minute. Oh. Soph is saying, "I wanted to like Diva last year, but got minimal fruit from it." Well, I hope that's not my experience, but if it is, and I only get 2 fruit, from growing it indoors, I guess I'll take that, and next year I'll try Socrates.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, that's the one. So I'm sorry about that, Soph. There's nothing worse than trying something. Well, there's a lot worse than that, but, it's disappointing when you don't get it. Um, you don't get the kind of production that you're looking for. Uh, also,
It's, you've got some new faces in the chat this week. Audrey, Laura
yeah,
from Laura from the Tiny Garden, and oh, it's going by so fast.
I think I've seen Steve before, but he's kind of new. Uh, the Tiny Garden. Yeah, that's awesome. Welcome. Welcome if you're new and welcome if you're not. How's that? We're happy for everyone here. So what are some of your favorite seed companies?
Uh, Pine Tree. Um, Jim over at the Lake Effect Gardener got
Mhm.
me started on them, and I did my biggest uh, order this year from Pine Tree. I just love their seeds. I also got live strawberry plants from them last year, and I was very happy. I did order my potatoes. I'm going to be doing potatoes for the first time,
Okay.
Kennebec and Adirondack Blue, but they won't mail them to me until it's
It,
time.
yep. So we always get them in a little late because
My
yeah, you can get them in earlier, but they won't send them in case we get a frost.
Yeah,
So I'm
they're
like,
up in
I'll leave
Maine.
them in my house. Don't worry about that. I won't put them out too early. But yeah, there's
I
also
think they're also afraid of the transport too, right? Freeze
oh yeah,
thaw.
because they can be stuck in some warehouse for however long it gets stuck there, and they're not always temperature controlled. So I
Yeah.
get why they do it. I just don't always appreciate it at the time because I just want them. Like,
So
send them to me.
there's
Yeah,
another company in New York that's called Hudson Valley.
Hudson Valley. It's a nice company.
It's small and I love their seeds. And if you buy the Art Pack seeds, they're beautiful. They
The
have
art
all kind.
packs are stunning. It's like I don't want to rip this open.
Yeah,
I
they
just
are.
want
They're
to
pretty.
frame it. And but they also sell those as art prints now, I saw.
Oh, wow.
So you can get some prints off. And I thought, well, that's smart because I don't want to rip them open because they're so beautiful.
So pretty. Um, I'm looking at my seed picks. Wild Boar Farms. How can we forget Wild Boar Farms?
You can't. He's
They
the tomato
are
man. He's the tomato man.
the god of
Yeah.
tomatoes, right?
Yes. And
He,
I love he did one just a couple years ago, and it was seeds he got from a friend who stopped propagating seeds. Now I'm not sure if he passed away. I for some reason think he might have. And he named the seed after the gentleman who had passed away. It's Tim's.
Tim's Taste of Paradise.
Yes, Tim's
I
Taste of
d-
Paradise.
I did
So
those last year and I sent them to a few friends and oh, you
they're
know,
good.
they're on par with Sun Gold, a little bit smaller,
Oh,
but they don't split like the Sun Gold split.
oh, because I have some of those seeds to put in. Uh,
Fabulous.
yes.
Have you
So
ever done Barry's Crazy Cherry?
I have done Berry's Crazy Cherry,
That's
and they're
new.
crazy, and there's a million of them. I wasn't nuts about the flavor.
Oh, really?
They're really cool looking. Like, you cannot believe that one truss of these things has so many, but they were kinda watery tasting to me.
Oh, really? Oh, that
Yeah.
was last year. I did Japanese black trifeli.
Uh-huh.
I had high hopes. The plant was loaded. They looked beautiful. Oh, they tasted like nothing.
Yeah,
Literally. You just
I
like you had
didn't wanna
tomato
I
feel.
didn't wanna say that a lot because Jessie's on potty mouth with me, and she swears by them, and maybe they grow different in the UK than they do here. I had grown those, gosh, 20 years ago, and I thought they were they were not a good tasting tomato to me, but, maybe they've come along in the last 20 years, I'm not sure. But, yeah, I was like, "No, I'm not growing those." So we've got some really cool yeah, thank you, JB. He's telling Jesse on me. Um, there are a few UK ones that I wanna make sure uh, I know Moles. I have ordered from Moles back in the day when you could, and Mr. Fothergill's,
Okay.
Premier Seeds, DT Brown, Real Seeds, and Chiltern. Now, I have found I can get some seeds from Chiltern through Etsy. They have an Etsy
Mm.
shop that allows me to I get the, Bedfordshire onion seeds through Chiltern's because I can't get them kind of any other way.
So
Uh,
Etsy,
yeah,
ch-
yeah, Chiltern.
okay, writing that down.
Oh, I saw something else up here. Uh, okay, JB's. Yeah, well, JB, if you'd like, I'll send you some of those Tim's Taste of Paradise. Got to keep it. If you don't tell Jesse, I'll send you some tomato seeds. I'll say that. Well, let's make a deal. Let's
It's a
make
good
a
deal.
deal. Yeah. Okay, some of my other I do like, Baker Creek,
Baker Creek, yeah.
uh, although there's a little controversy about them, so
Mm.
I'm not quite sure if that's, okay, good, it's a deal. Uh, JB's gonna cover me and I'll cover him, so it's all good. Uh, but I do like some of their varieties that I can't get anywhere else. I like Haas, uh, tools.
Haas, yes.
They are wow, their customer service is so good, and I think it's because of, like, I forget his name, the owner. He's all about, like, it gets out fast, it gets out we keep everything chilled before it gets sent out. I mean, he is, amazing gentleman, and, so I love their stuff. I get a lot of my little small Persian cucumbers from them.
So
Um,
a few years, I'm sorry to interrupt, but a
no.
few years back, I bought some huge tomato cages from them. Galvanized steel, the square ones, but tall.
Uh-huh.
Um, it was a splurge because,
Sure, 'cause they're not
postage
cheap.
plus these,
Yeah,
I don't regret it. They will live longer than me,
yeah,
and they have never toppled over. They don't sell them anymore.
bummer.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, no, they're not the cheapest, but they sell very good quality things. Uh, okay. So I'm trying to think if there's anything I'm missing. Pine Tree, the only thing I have to watch about Pine Tree is sometimes they don't put many seeds in.
Mhm.
Everything's very, very priced great. So sometimes you have to buy 2 or 3 packs to make sure you get enough. So I always have to remember with them, I have to read the seed count. Um, gosh, I do some tomato places that are just there's a dwarf tomato. It's like it's not like a store, but there's a dwarf tomato breeder or group of breeders that are all about trying to make all of these indeterminates into dwarfs that are more usable. And I have
Oh,
discovered a few tomato purveyors through that were wonderful. And
ah,
can I remember them at this moment? No, I can't because one of my favorite tomatoes is Purple Heart, and it's a dwarf, but it puts out a nice sized tomato. Uh, and I think Claire is also a fan of the Purple Heart. Such a beefy, dark tomato. It's absolutely wonderful. Renee's Garden. Yes, that's another one that I love. I have like 8 tabs open right now of various seed companies, and I'm kind of hedging
Renee,
like who's got what and what do I and I ordered this from all of them, which I sometimes do. I forget that I've ordered it, and I end
Mhm.
up getting 4 different packs of the same thing from 4 different companies.
I'm thinking garlic.
Have you ordered garlic from Keen's?
I
Oh, my garlic. Oh my goodness. That
Your
was
garlic.
no one will ever forget that. So what's wrong with 700 cloves of garlic being or yeah, that was ridiculous. Yeah, I
You know
will try not to ever make that mistake again.
the nice thing about Renee's and botanical interest
Oh, yes, great one.
it is that you can feel and touch it. You know, it's carried in the better nurseries, so you can go in and actually get on a seed rack and buy them as well as
Right,
online.
right. Yeah, and Botanical Interest was just purchased by the Epic Gardener.
Yeah.
So I thought, wow, YouTube's been good to him. He just bought a seed company. Good for him, because that Botanical Interest has been around for a long time.
A long time.
Yeah, and so yeah, uh, Claire is talking about Abraham Lincoln, which I gotta think started over here. I don't know why I would think that, but I'm just thinking. Uh, yeah, I have seeds from you, Claire, that I am going to start. I started a couple last year, did it too late, but I'm going to start those. Those are on my list for this year. Okay, so amendments.
Ooh, amendments. Oh, well, okay. I have to give a shout out to your favorite, the mycorrhizal fungi.
Yep.
Um, you know, is it was it Tony who said it's your pixie dust or your
Yes.
you put some of your pixie
Yeah,
dust?
my magical dust that I dance around and put on my plants.
But once I
It
started
works.
doing this, and it just a little bit,
Yeah.
it's amazing. So it's controversial that it works or it doesn't. I say it's good stuff.
Here's how I feel about this, almost like how I feel about pharmaceuticals.
Hmm.
If it's a placebo and yet it works for me, I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
So if I just am somehow thinking it's better, then it's actually better. That's my like reality. So it's better for me. But I actually know that what I've grown is better. So,
So I just got a new one. I don't know if you can see it through the plastic. This is azomite. This is another controversial
rock
one. People,
dust.
yeah, people think that it's is or it isn't. Well, since I started using it, I'm a believer, and I love this stuff. Uh, It's got all kinds of trace minerals. I'll tell you a little story. So I participated in the Sweetabega Challenge over
Yes.
at Danny, formerly the Grapevine Garden, now Grow Up. And I actually grew the biggest one. Well, I couldn't grow a rutabaga to save my life before last year. And yet I grew the biggest one. And I put it down to the azomite because I was talking to Steve over at Digwell Green Fingers,
Hmm.
and some of the things that uh, the rutabaga, the Swede, need come from here. because I didn't put anything else different in the ground than I do with any other plant, except for azomite compared to years gone by when I had so many fails with growing rutabaga. So controversial, but
Well,
I
I
say
know,
it's a
but
good thing.
also we have to realize that all of our soil or growing mediums are not the same. So someone might say, "Oh, that's useless," but it might actually be very useful in your garden. So
Absolutely.
that's where I got to go. We all have to figure out what works for us, where we are, the soil we have, the nutrition it has. And if adding a little rock dust like helps your garden, add the rock dust, right?
Exactly.
Even if
It-
somebody else thinks it's a big old waste of time.
So
It's not really important.
so I've had this old tea can. It's all bent and crushed and whatever, but I keep refilling it. And the way I save money is when I find a good organic granular on sale, usually at the end of the season, I buy it. And then I have a big clear plastic tote in the garage
Mhm.
and I just pour it in and I mix them all together. You know, the NP and K on one might be 3, 2, 3, one might be 5, 4, 4, whatever. But as long as it's relatively, a balanced one and not
Yeah.
something like super high in nitrogen, it goes in that big tub and I save a ton of money. I just scoop it out and put in here. And then this goes with me in my little rolly that goes out to the garden. And then I put just, like an old takeaway spoon in there to 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 use it.
So you
And
top dress things with that through the
I
year?
t- I plant it, I top dress, and that's how I save money is, my big put it in the big tote altogether method. Now I've got a lot of other
So it's
stuff
your own
too.
special blend.
Yeah. I got a lot of other stuff, that you can use. Um, like earthworm castings. I save
Uh-huh.
any kind of shaker thing that it comes with something gets made into a refillable something to go with me out to the garden in my little roly poly. Um, I'd say the only other thing that I think everybody else needs is a good organic nitrogen. And I use actually one from Haas, your company that you like. It's a Chilean nitrate.
I've
Um,
seen that. Yep.
so uh it's water
So you use that
soluble.
on your greens and things? Is that
Yeah, like onions, any of the alliums just love that extra nitrogen. And melons. So when I got into melons because of the transatlantic melon challenge that Jane Kelly and Jim over at the Lake Effect Gardener did, um, I learned, I mean, it seems so weird that melons would need a lot of nitrogen. It just doesn't seem right,
well,
but
that
they
kind of
love it.
seems like they would just keep growing a lot of vine, right? So don't they need potassium as well to start? Well, it's not a root crop.
Well, I
So
give them I give them the
yep.
balanced and the whole other regimen, but they get extra Chilean nitrate as well. And I think that's something that everybody needs in their arsenal, especially if you want to up your allium game because they just love it. It doesn't work otherwise. I had lots of years under my belt of fails until I was turned on to the extra nitrogen.
Now
So,
now you put that on though before they start to bulb, correct?
right,
Like
once they
before
start
they're
to, very good point. Once they start to bulb, they don't get any more nitrogen.
right.
And
Because at
I'm
that
I'm
point I would think they would like some potassium to get that bulb going.
exactly. I'm kind of
Yeah.
one of those little and often people. So Al and I go out, Sunday's kind of our day, and we go out on every Sunday and do lotions and potions, we call it, and give everything a little liquid feed.
Uh-huh.
Um, I do have some of my favorite liquids. Um, this Neptune's Harvest
Oh, Neptune's Harvest is awesome.
that it has the seaweed and the other. It's kind of dear in price, but honestly,
But you
I
don't
use
use
like a
much.
I do like
Exactly. It's so concentrated.
I put
Yeah.
like a half a capful in when we do lotions and potions, kind of thing. Um,
Hi, Ian. I see you there. Good to have
uh,
you.
you know what? I like this tiger bloom as
Now
well.
that I've never used.
That's a good organic one too. Uh, and then you've talked about this before on the show, the CalMag.
Yes.
It really is a game changer for me with stopping blossom end rot,
Yes.
and just a little bit,
Yes.
and it goes a long way. And then good old Doctor or yeah, Dr. Earth.
Yes, Dr. Earth.
Dr. Earth. Now this is the pump and grow, which they uh and all these products are OMRI certified, so they're all, organic products. Um, this one, they kind of advertise it like, put a pump next to your plant kind of thing. But I put
Yeah.
a pump in water and then do that little and often thing with it when we do the whole lotions and potions things on once a week or so. Um, but yeah. So what are
Well,
your
that's great.
favorites?
Uh, well, obviously the mycorrhizal. I use the Neptune's fish emulsion. I
Okay.
use it almost all the time when we water. If it's not like we still water by hand because we haven't figured out yet how to like. I think you can inject uh, some fertilizer into your, but I'm not sure how that works when it's coming from the city water supply. And do you have to inject it into every? So I'm gonna do a little still this whole, uh, irrigation thing is still kinda new to me. I just know it saves me in the middle of July. Like, things are actually still happy when the sun is scorching. Things are still gonna grow. Uh, so yeah, I guess because Haas does that all the time. He injects,
Mm-hmm. Injects, yeah.
and I'm not quite sure how that still works when it goes all over my entire garden.
It's kind of a siphon system that goes through to the irrigation system. I mean, I've only seen it because I water everything by hand.
Yeah, so we try to water everything, like, every 2 weeks with diluted, fish emulsion, and
Okay.
then I usually put some slow release fertilizer in when I plant. So
So you're talking about the city water?
yeah,
I have a filter that I put, at the spigot that filters the water.
okay.
Um, you might want to look into that if you're worried about, flush of chlorine and all the stuff from the city water.
I'm not really worried about that, I've just thought, "How do I inject, um, fertilizer into it? And how does it not get really strong up where I inject it and there's none at the end of the run?"
Ah,
Um
I see what you mean.
But I think, like, Haas's garden is set up so there's one spigot and it waters just this garden bed. I mean, it's a huge garden bed, they're probably 40 by 40, uh, but that's all it waters. So, yeah, I think I need to do a little more research into that to see if I can, because boy, would that be easy. Other
Yeah.
than that, I don't do a whole lot. I think I'm gonna get my soil tested this year and see what it's lacking, and then maybe amend with that, but I don't you've got me now thinking about this azomite, and I might just give that a little bit of a shot. I'm always looking for something that's gonna give me, a bigger harvest, a better harvest, because I know the CalMag, when I started using that on the tomatoes, it not only took care of blossom end rot, but it made the tomatoes much happier. So I think I got much more produce from it.
Hmm.
So, um, but yeah, I might have to look into the azomite, but I don't do a ton. So I'm very impressed with your arsenal that you have.
Well, over the years, I just kind of
I know.
learned.
I'm just saying, and I think when I plant, I put that slow release uh, organic fertilizer in. So I feel like I probably should midsummer probably side dress them again. I just don't.
It really just depends on the plants. Some of them just, don't need it. But
Right. Well, and I did order some garlic specific fertilizer to give my garlic a little side dressing in the spring. So I
mhm.
thought they've been through a really rough winter. They need a little bit of something in the spring. And have you ever ordered your onions from Dixondale?
No, but everybody raves.
Well, because they're the biggest onion group in the but he does have an organic onion fertilizer. And I thought, I just might I just might need to pick that up and see how that because we love onions. If there's one thing that always gets completely used in my garden is the onions that we grow. So I thought that might be worth picking a little bit of that up. So,
I tried a new one last year called Patterson. I
oh
am
yeah, the onion. Yeah,
from seed. Um, oh, I am so impressed. The
and it's a long
storage,
store.
oh my gosh, they're just as firm, just as great as when I picked them in the middle of summer.
Yeah.
So I am really impressed with them.
Yep.
By now, I'm usually, chopping them up and freezing them and trying to save what's left. So,
Absolutely. My freezer is kind of full of chopped up onions, which when you're cooking comes in handy that you don't have to chop an onion and cry, but uh yeah, so I'm growing Patterson again this year and blush. I've never grown a blush onion. Very
mm,
excited. It's a cross between a yellow onion and a red onion. And
okay.
so I think it's going to look more like the coloring of a shallot. Sorry. See, look, I'm saying it Brit. Shallot, the shallot. Um, and what else am I doing? I'm doing candy onions, which I absolutely love.
Although
They
they
don't,
really are. They're like eating candy. They are so delicious.
but they don't store for beans. And I've got a red onion that's a good. I'm more interested in storage onions at this point than. And I'm growing two kinds of shallots. Uh, I'm growing the Zabroon and creme brulee. I just like
Ooh,
the name of the creme brulee. I thought, how could that be bad with a name like that? So,
I did I did red Consavoir and Zabroon. Like them both, and they both have stored well. And I think I ordered
yeah, I
something
think
else.
shallots store better than onions, actually. I think they're known for that.
Um, I've had good luck, and my red onions are doing well. They're the red ruby from M.I. Gardner, or ruby
Okay.
red, red ruby or ruby red. They're still going strong. The Elsa Craigs, they were delicious. And oh my gosh, they were big.
Yeah.
Um,
But
but
not good
it
storage.
it
Yeah.
said, it said a month, and I got 4 months out of them, so yay. But then,
Yeah.
but when 4 months hit, they were like,
Yeah, but they're delicious. I'm also growing I think I just said that. Bedfordshire champions that I got
Ooh.
from Chilterns because all my British friends were like, "Oh my gosh, this is the best onion." So I'm growing those this year as well. So, oh, Steve, you're an onion grower. Look at this. He grew 500 onions from seed last year. That sounds like me growing garlic. Uh, I was sick of planting them, but it was worth the effort in the end. Yeah, they are a little fussy to plant. Uh, but yeah, no, it's absolutely worth because I Bedfordshire is a storage onion too. So that's why I was very excited to grow those.
But how big do they get on average? Baseball size or
Yeah, I think
tennis,
they're more like the Patterson.
like a
They're not
Patterson? Okay.
like Elsa Craig at all,
Okay.
which are so big,
They blew
so
my
big.
mind big.
Yeah, yeah, and that is a variety that's grown a lot for competition, like, biggest onion. So just imagine if you were trying to make it the biggest onion, how big it might get. Yeah, because I always think, wow, that got big all by itself. So, yeah, a lot of onion growers here. Nice.
Tastiest is a Kiraville, um, Pat by the Sea, a pink onion. Nice taste. I've not heard of
Oh,
that one. I gotta write that one down too.
and I wonder if that's like a blush onion because they do look kind of pink. So we'll see because I'm growing them this year and we'll see what happens. Are there any uh oh really? Well, Rob is saying that the Bedfordshire champion held the world record for the biggest onion.
Ooh,
Wow. And it's a storage onion. Well, that'll be awesome if that turns out to be true. Uh that's awesome. Uh oh, Giganti beans. I ordered my Giganti beans off of Etsy because I can no longer get any of my UK purveyors to mail over here. And I've done that for the last like 3 years and have had no problems getting them.
I'm growing them for the first time this year because Will the Flying Gardener was so kind to send me some because
Oh,
I can't find them here.
yeah, no. And I think there is a name for one that's similar. It's like a ginormal butter bean or something is what it's called. Uh, but I don't think it's quite the same as this Greek Giganti.
I'm excited. I couldn't find the Borlati bean either.
Uh-huh.
And there is an Italian grocery store down in the south suburbs. So we
We got
go
some Frankies.
every
Yeah.
year. and and they have their Borlato beans here. And I'm a fan. Oh, at the first year I did them, I let them dry and then
Uh-huh.
used them from dry. Fabulous. Last year, my plants started to get a little bit fungal and I got worried about them. So pulled them and ate them green. Oh, heaven. I like them green better.
Really? I would never have tried one that way.
Oh, they,
Wow.
when those little beans are still green before they would
Oh,
be coming to the dry stage. Ooh, I love the flavor.
well, that's good to know. I've never Have you ever grown, Kalima beans?
Mm-mm.
That is, I believe, the best tasting more of a French bean because it's a thin bean
Okay.
that I've ever had. And even if you get to them late and they're kind of bigger than they should be, they're still
They're still
Absolutely
good.
wonderful.
Oh,
Absolutely
that is good
wonderful.
to know. How's Kalima spelt?
Calima. Oh, and JB's giving a shout out to Kalima. Oh, nope, that's not JB. There we go.
Ah,
Yeah. Yeah, they're so good.
I have
So
like
good.
thir I have like 13 varieties staring me in the face. Now I'm trying to figure out where the heck I'm gonna put them. I
Yeah.
love my
Now, do you
beans.
grow pole and bush or
I do, but I prefer bush.
I do too.
Better flavor. They come off so good. I'll tell you, I bought the Menards 11 last year they were 11 cents a pack when I got them. This year I've got them for 10 cents a pack, but top-notch wax beans. They're divine.
The yellow?
Yellow.
Yeah. Oh, I love a yellow wax bean. Those are so good. Uh, yeah. Top notch. Okay. I
Top-notch,
haven't
cheap as chips.
Yeah, no, that's always good to know. I was gonna ask you something else. Have you ever tried Christmas lima beans?
You know, you've sent those around to people and they've raved about them, but no, I've not tried them.
Oh, they're so good. They're such a bit once they're cooked, they are enormous. So I only grow pole beans for drying beans, so I can
Mhm.
kinda keep it separate, and this year we're building 2 teepees for, my garden assistant has 2 little ones, so they
Mhm.
have their own garden beds here, and we're gonna put up a bean teepee for both of them so they can go in there and hide. And I'm just gonna grow all my dry beans up there, and then they can just stay there the whole year, and I
So I
don't have
have a yeah, I have a structure that Alan, our good friend, built. It's probably about 10 feet tall, maybe 12.
See, that's a
Um,
nice height.
and I put little galvanized eye hooks at the top and the bottom, and then I ran fish line. So, you know, when nothing's there, you can't really see anything but the outside of this structure. You know, because I'm in a suburban
I'm with
lot,
you. I
right?
mean, yeah, you
Everybody
gotta
can
make your neighbors sorta
see,
happy. Yeah.
you're right. They can see the backyard. But the dang bunnies got there last year and they bit every one of those fish lines, you know, at the bottom. And now I've wired it in so the bunnies can't get up there. And I
Are you
broke
sure
down
it
and I
wasn't a
put
squirrel?
no, the bunnies, they go for
Just
those beans, the little stinkers.
Yeah.
But the squirrels, yeah, we could do a whole program on squirrels
Oh,
and bunnies. Our nemesis, right?
I mean, you can't grow a piece of greenery on the ground, or the bunnies come in and go, "Thank you for this lovely breakfast." Yeah,
Excellent
yeah.
buffet.
They know when things are ready, like, the day before we do. So, yeah, let's take this all off now. Yeah, so if I know you like your squirrels, sorry.
Oh,
I'm so sorry.
one thing that we didn't mention that you and I had talked about was the fact that we are going to be hit with the cicadas this year.
Please talk about that. I do
It
not like cicadas. When I hear them doing their leg rubbing or whatever they do in the trees, it freaks me out because I know what they look like. And
so they're about that big. I don't know,
oh
can you
yeah,
see that? They're
yeah.
big. Um, and they just when you get a lot of them together, they just make such a noise. And they can be a bit destructive in the garden. And I'm like, Oh, great. I decided to start my YouTube channel the year that the 17-year cycle
That
of the
might be great
cicadas.
content. Look what the cicadas did last night. Well, they just thought they were out, looking for. So I'm nervous when you were talking about the 17. I know, like, they go underground and they live
Mhm.
underground for like 17 years and then they come up. So, so all these other ones we're seeing are I've been hearing for the last. They're just a couple that have been left up here.
Well, there's different types of cicadas, but the
Oh,
the
good.
ones that are the ones that are
Oh,
the most worrisome are that 17-year cycle one. Do you ever follow a channel called The Rusted Garden?
oh
He is
yeah.
in Maryland. He
Yes.
was pretty, hard hit when he went through his 17-year cycle. So, yay, we get it this year. Yay.
So, wow. So we have to do a little research maybe on how to
I
keep them.
do, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that I'm probably I'm just gonna have to get like what more Enviromesh to go over stuff.
But see, they seem like they're big enough to chew through that to me. Those are big, ugly, dinosaur-looking bugs.
I think I'm gonna put some extra bird feeders around and come to my yard, eat the cicadas.
Wow, that'd have to be a pretty big bird. Wouldn't it? It's like blue jays and hawks are gonna have to come in and do that.
So I also heard that dogs love to eat them. They're kind of a treat. Some gourmet restaurants serve them as a delicacy.
No.
Hmm.
Oh.
I say
Okay.
yuck.
Yeah, well, on that note, uh oh, wow, I really will leave here and do some research because you're freaking me out right
I'm sorry.
No, because I don't even I mean, I hear them all the time when we're out in the summer, in the evening. But it gets so loud sometimes. You go, how many are there out there? And
Okay,
then it
so
waves. They do it loud and then it gets real quiet and then it gets real loud again and then it gets real quiet.
so the
That's
last seven, yeah, I'm sorry, the last 17-year cycle, my husband was a road construction inspector before he retired. He brought a one of the old tennis rackets with because where they were building on the tollway was just thick with them, and he would bat them with this tennis racket. That's how bad they
well,
were.
and imagine how big that is that you're hitting with a tennis racket. So, Sophie had said kebabs sound good to her.
Cicada kebabs.
No, that's when you just do that and put it out in your backyard and let the other cicadas know this is what happens to you if you come in this backyard. You're going to get kebabbed. Well, here we are, and we're well over the hour. That felt like 5 minutes, Robin. I must admit that was so fast. Uh, what a delightful conversation.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, will you do this again?
Oh, I would love it.
Oh,
You made
good.
me feel
Okay.
so comfortable.
Oh my goodness. No, what a great conversation. I could do that a lot with you. You're easy to talk to. Super easy to talk to. Oh, hi, Amir and Sharon. Gosh, got a couple popping in here. Look at all this. Well, hey, I'm going to say, Robin, thank you so much for coming, for being here. And we're going to do this again for sure. Thank you all for popping in. I know it's actually a live time, so you're actually doing this instead of doing all the other things that are probably calling you to be done. So thank you so much. We appreciate you spending time with us today. And I want to wish you all a healthy week and fun planning and thinking about your gardens. Okay? Y'all take care. Thanks so much.
Bye,
Same time,
everyone.
same time next week. See you then.